Good afternoon, everybody. We're just going to give it a few more minutes, just wait for a few more attendees to arrive. So I appreciate your patience. Thank you.
Dan, I think that we can start.
Okay, well, thank you everyone for joining us today. I'm just going to pass you over to Fanny just to sort of introduce today's webinar. So welcome, Fanny.
Welcome. Maybe you can begin the recording.
Yeah, recording. It's recording.
Okay, great. So hello, everyone. And welcome for joining us on this very exciting webinar. My name is Fanny Clavel, and I am Marketing Director for Zeisel UK. Yesterday was definitely a very, very big day for us as Zeisel, and we appreciate that this is a very big day for you resellers as well, because we have a very exciting news to share with you as our Nebula solution is moving forward and making a very, very big step to answer more your need and stick to your expectations. So I'm going to now let Daniel Marsh introduce you to this new solution, the evolution of Nebula, and walk you through every new features and functionality that you can now benefit from for your customers.
Thank you very much, Fanny. So thank you everyone for joining me this afternoon. So just to let you know, we do have Nigel Canning who's monitoring the questions section. So if you've got any questions, feel free to post them on there and we'll do our best to answer them. So what I am just going to say is that our Nebula Together is our branding is aimed around space. So what Nebula Together represents is Zeisel's strategy to help customers realize the power of bringing your whole network together into a single platform. The workplace and how we all connect has evolved, especially over the last year. We all have a greater reliance on remote home workers connected into business network environments. With this, there is an increased security risk, along with the complexity and challenges of managing, monitoring, and supporting a more fluid type of working. So as of yesterday, marks a significant milestone for the Nebula platform. It now incorporates our USG Flex series of our business gateways or firewalls. So any of you that are familiar with Zeisel will know that we've had a USG series out for many years. So this has now been re-released as the USG Flex series, and as the Flex signifies, is that it is flexible. It can be both standalone and it can now be cloud managed. So this extensive upgrade will allow clients to easily expand beyond the traditional networking to support remote working efficiently and, more importantly, securely, including the support of centralized two-factor authentication on the platform, which is now supported, and the security functionalities which have been in there previously have now been extended to incorporate home workers as well. So some of the key benefits are it's very easy. You can onboard the devices and set it up within minutes. So everything is ready to launch within a few minutes. The devices that you get, there's QR codes on the box. It's a very easy onboarding process. So once you've registered the devices, either using a QR code or entering the details within the Nebula platform itself, it is literally just a case of sitting back and letting the autopilot take over and onboard these devices and bring them online. So the Nebula platform itself is a multi-tenant based platform. So this gives you a bird's eye view of your organization's your size of all of your devices. So it allows you to manage multiple customers within a single pane of glass, as long as you have an active internet connection and access to either a mobile phone, a tablet, or a laptop. So it's very easily to access, and it's very efficient in what it can do. So, I mean, if we drill down into some of the views that you've got, so the site view, which is shown on screen at the moment, I mean, it is literally like mission control. You have the ability to monitor your devices, how many devices you've got, the actual performance of them, how many clients you've got, the PoE budgeting. So PoE switches, as you add more access points, you start using your PoE budgeting. So keeping an eye on that is crucial, especially when you're looking to expand the network. And then on top of that, you've got quite a few tools. So at the top, you can select what organization you've got or what site you want to look down. Quick and easily, you can flick between the two. It gives you an overall status of all the devices. As I've said, it'll provide you the CPU usage and things like that, just to so you can look at it and go, right, everything's functioning absolutely fine. Great. On top of that, you also have real-time application and traffic summary. So using our USG Flex Gateway, which has now joined the platform, it allows you to have a look at trends and what people are going on during work time, how effective your content filtering is and things like that. And it just allows you to have that overview of what's going on your network at an easy glance. So on top of that, obviously being able to actively access dashboard where you can have a look at the statistics is great. But what's even better is the fact that you can have automatic alerts. So if something goes wrong, rather than having to look at a screen and think, oh, there's a problem, it's been there for 4 hours, you can actually get a notification, whether that be by email or even using our Nebula app. It can ping you a notification to say, you've got a problem here, your access point's been down for 5 minutes, your switch has been down for 5 minutes, or your DHCP lease is exhausted on your gateway, you need to look at having a look at your topology and building up your subnets even further. All this information is readily available for you. So on top of the fact that you've got the enhanced monitoring that you can do on it, being able to scale the actual platform. So when you're installing something, we all know how complex it can be, getting things on a bench and setting them all up, sending them out to site, massive amount in terms of man hours and things like that. So Zyxel have invested a lot of time and effort and a lot of market research to understand the pain points that you resellers suffer from. So some of the things that we've incorporated in this is like a sync site configuration. So if you've got a site which is the basis in which you're going to deploy other sites, then why not clone it? Why do you have to reinvent the wheel? So we've given this mechanism, and even with a security profile. So if you've got multiple UTM devices sat across multiple sites, but they all want to inherit the same security profile, such as the content filtering, the malware, and things like that, why not have a centralized place for that? This is where the security profiles really comes into it. And then being able to sync devices to a master device, so being able to clone physical switches to another switch because they're going to be exactly the same. Again, it's all about making deployment easier for you and allowing you to scale it up as far as you want it to do. And then we all know when we make changes to a switch remotely, we're always a bit hesitant at pressing that save button. We always think, what about if I've done something wrong? Well, with Nebula, you've got the peace of mind that you can back up and restore the switches. So yeah, if you do cause an issue because you've overlooked something or something like that, it's not the end of the world. All we've got to do is revert it back and restore the backup. So again, making sure that we've got 99% uptime and allowing the devices and the sites and everything to function correctly without having to worry about going out on a 5-hour journey just because you've made one mistake on a particular config. So creating sites and device configuration templates. So this is quite good because you can actually create a configuration template, which is like a virtual site. You bind physical sites to this template, and whatever changes you make will be inherited across them all. So if you think a retail establishment has 50 stores, every month they want their password changing on their Wi-Fi. You update it in one place, that replicates across the entire board to all 50 of them sites. So you can pretty much do that on a regular basis to 50 sites within a click of a button. Yeah, and more importantly, updates. We all know that firmware updates are crucial to maintain the security, especially within all technology requires enhancements to their firmwares to make sure that any exploits that have been exploited by hackers or anyone like that is fixed. So you can do this over the air. You can schedule them on a weekly basis. You can schedule specific devices to upgrade on a regular basis, or you can jump on there and do it instantly. So making sure everything is ready to go and all the firmwares are fully up to date, that is key. So what about if we have a problem? What can we do? So just to name a few of the things that we've got remote CLI. So for those people who like command line interfaces and are very savvy in what they're doing, that ability is there for you. So it's not just for the ease of use for people who may not be comfortable with large networks and things like that, but it also expands to the people who are very au fait with networking and are very comfortable in what they're doing. You've got remote cable diagnostics. This is a prime example of what Nebula can offer. If you've got a problem on a particular port, you can run a cable diagnostics. It will tell you that there is a fault, and it will also tell you from the distance from the switch how far the fault is, so you can actually start tracing it through. You can access the devices and do speed tests. You can do ping tests. You can do trace routes. So everything that you would expect is available for you there. The automatic topology view. So this is always one of my favorites, coming from a technical background myself. The automatic topology view, as you add Nebula devices to it, you'll actually see it builds up a visual topology of the network, an interactive topology at that, where you can have a look and it will tell you if the access point's offline. You click on that access point, it will tell you exactly what device is offline, what port it's plugged into, and then you can start really drilling down and offering that best level of support that you can. And obviously, we all like to keep a track of what's been changed, what information's going on the network. So detailed logs and user audit information is also there included. So as Fanny's alluded to, and as I've touched on, the USG Flex joining the platform is absolutely a massive milestone for us, and we're all very excited for it. It brings not only the USG, which has been a legacy unit and been used widely for, I used my first one 12 years ago. So we've also introduced something called CDR. So this is an automatic response to cyber threats on end user devices. So if you've got an end user device which has malware on it or something like that, the platform itself can isolate that into an isolation VLAN, keep it completely separate from your existing network while you run diagnostics, but also not hinder the connection, so they can still access the internet. So as you can see, we're maintaining the productivity of the device, but also isolating it from your mainstream corporate network, therefore offering that high level of security. And with how the day and age is nowadays, VPN connections are a massive uptake on what we do as a business. So a VPN connection is obviously a secure connection over the internet to which head offices and branches can connect to each other. Now, these branches obviously will share information. They will pass sensitive information across these VPN tunnels. And with it going over the internet, we need to make sure this is as clear, as secure as possible to ensure that this data is not interrupted or somebody obviously takes any information, because at the end of the day, our data needs to be secure. So the VPN connections that are built within Nebula, they follow all the standards that our VPN and our firewalls have done legacy. However, the deployment of it is much easier. To benefit from that, you also have the ability to send out provisioning scripts as well to, say, for instance, non-technical savvy people that might be working on a laptop or working from home or something like that. You can actually create like an L2TP VPN file, send it out to them, and all they've got to do is double click it. It'll install everything they need, and that's it. They've got a secure connection back to your head office or your branch. But going beyond that, with how the situation's been over the past year, we've addressed one of the biggest issues, working from home. We've now introduced a facility within Nebula that some of our access points now support, called a secure Wi-Fi. So this secure Wi-Fi allows you to onboard a wireless access point into Nebula. Once it's onboarded into Nebula, you unplug it, or you don't even have to plug it in to download its configuration. You send it off to the home worker's premise. ask them to plug it into their broadband connection, and as soon as it gets an internet connection, downloads all its configuration files, you will then find that it will broadcast the company SSID. Now, this company SSID, when you connect to it, will provide you a secure VPN tunnel back to the head office. So you don't need to look at installing any additional software on your laptop or anything like that. You can literally log onto the Wi-Fi, and there you are. It's as though you're at the office. So it's an extension to the office network. And looking in the future as well, the ability to be able to plug a computer or a VoIP phone into the back of the access point, and also being able to access the VPN tunnel. So things like phone systems, they can be utilized as well through it in coming up releases towards the end of this year. So again, it's a very exciting time for Nebula, and especially around the security aspect of things. So moving away from security, one of the biggest pain points of resellers, and coming from a technical industry myself, is Wi-Fi. So we all know Wi-Fi is open to the elements. People can plug in another access point somewhere, start causing interference, and to be able to diagnose it can be very difficult, very time consuming, and especially if you're not in that sort of area on a daily basis, it can take some time to figure out exactly how to resolve that. Well, Zyzel's addressed this. We've introduced, and it's been in Nebula quite a while, and it will continuously look at evolving. We've introduced Wi-Fi Health. So what is Wi-Fi Health? It monitors both your access points and your client's performance, and determines based on retry rate, so based on your actual performance, how well it is doing. And if it's not performing very well, it will actually indicate this on like a traffic light system. It'll tell you, yeah, this is suffering, this is suffering. And using machine learning and AI techniques, it can actually make changes dynamically to actually resolve these issues without you needing to do anything. So you think of it from an end user's point of view. They've sat there a couple of days, I've had a bit of spotty Wi-Fi. I'm not going to report it though, because you know what I mean, it's all right now. However, from a reseller point of view, you want to try and resolve these issues before they get logged. You want to show your proactiveness, because that's how you create a sense of loyalty with your customers and show what they're paying for is the right service, and that's how you generate recursive revenue. So what you'll find is by doing this, you can proactively go to them. Oh, we noticed that you had a bit of an issue with your access point. We did some diagnostics, bit of a Wi-Fi issue. We've made some adjustments. Can you just continue to monitor? Thank you, Mr. Reseller. You've done me a great deed. So as I say, the tools are there for you to help improve your day-to-day running of your support mechanisms and your customers' network on a whole. So let's move on to some of the extra layers of security we've added into Nebula. So for quite some time, I've been wanting them to include two-factor authentication. Two-factor authentication is where you log on with a username and password, and you use something like Google Authenticator to basically turn around and say, this guy's trying to log into this under your credentials. Is it you? It pops up on your phone. Yeah, you generate a code, and away you go. It's two-factor authentication, meaning that you're less likely for somebody to get a hold of your password and log into the actual platform or to log into the network to make changes. So again, very, very high security in terms of what's required. And dynamic pre-share key has also been created. So this is where you can actually create a dynamic pre-share key, so a dynamic password for each and every device that joins it. So none of them are the same. So they can't share the information out to somebody outside of the properties. And this is crucial when you're using Internet of Things devices like smartphones and things like that. You want to be able to keep it secure. So this is what they use, and this is an approach that will help SMBs gain access to the zero trust principles without some of the complex issues often found in like the enterprise. So it's bringing sort of like the enterprise level technology down to the SMB market. So as I say, it's very, very good in terms of what it can offer you in terms of the security side of things. So the security control, I mean, with the USG Flex that's now recently joined the platform, it offers so much for value for security for both internal and external threats. So I mean, like for instance, this CDR that we're going to be talking about later on offers a really high amount of security for what you can actually do for it. I mean, typically speaking, when you buy a firewall, you're buying what's called a unified threat management, which is usually referred to as a UTM. And this will provide you advanced controls over users, applications, content filtering, making sure that you've got full control over your entire network, all from a push of the button, all from a single platform, without having to log on to individual web browsers, having to access PassPack or LastPass or any of these recording mechanisms where you record your passwords, because you've obviously got to keep it secure. It's all there with the two-factor authentication. You can lock down into individual IP addresses, so you can restrict who's got access to the actual platform as well. So again, everything is there that you need. I mean, and with the platform being hosted on AWS as well, we inherit all the ISO accreditations that's associated with it as well, which are globally recognized. So, and this is an exciting thing as well. So the Nebula overview pages is very clear, precise, and give you some general information. But what about if you want to drill down into that further? What about if you want to easily monitor and identify threats? You want to automatically identify abnormal user behavior. So somebody's going on something they shouldn't be. Now, you might want, as an IT manager, you might have to create customized reports or a reseller create customized white labeled reports to send to your customer and go, right, this is your monthly report. This is what we've noticed. These are the abnormal events and the abnormal user behavior that we've seen. We've had a look into it. We recommend that we could tweak these certain settings and actually help increase productivity and also reduce the potential threats on your network. And with Secure Report, which is an independent sort of website which has been used throughout our firewalls for quite some time now, it's a seamless switch between it. So you can move from the Nebula dashboard straight to the Secure Report. So it's got a very strong relationship in terms of the integration provided to it. And I would highly consider that you look into it as soon as you can, because the amount of statistics is amazing. So let's have a little bit of a drill down. So a USG Flex, as I say, the USG Flex joining Nebula, I cannot stress how exciting this device is to be on Nebula. So on top of all the UTM features that you got in the previous USG, such as web filtering, IPS, application patrol, anti-malware, email security, and obviously the secure report that I just touched on, we've now incorporated the security profile sync, so the SPS that it's abbreviated to. Now, this will allow you to create a centralized security profile that you can push out to multiple security devices. So if you've got a customer with 5 branches and they all want to inherit the same content filtering policy, not a problem, Mr. Customer. We've got just the right tool for that. That's where the SPS comes into its own. CDR, collaborative detection and response. And this is a fantastic feature. So this basically means that if you've got a wireless device connected to an access point or something, an edge device or a client device that's causing malware or got a virus on it, something like that, you might not want to strike it off the network straight away. You certainly want to be alerted about it. So what CDR will do is it will detect this, and rather than just chopping them off and being like, sorry, Mr. End User, you're not having any internet access, they go, Mr. End User, you've got a problem. We're going to tell your administrator, and for the time being, we're just going to isolate you in this little VLAN here where you can't contact anybody else, but anybody who's got the same level of issues, which means you not only secure them, but you still allow them to function while the administrator obviously secures the time to be able to drill down and really resolve it. So again, some of the features it's got is absolutely amazing, and it will only continue to advance. And I mean, Zeiss will take customer feedback very important as well. So if there's any features on there, don't worry, you've got direct support access within the Nebula portal. And you can raise enhancement requests if you're having some niggly little issues that you need some help with. Don't worry, Zeisel is on hand to help you. So what's in our Nebula range? I've told you that we've got wireless access points, switches, and and firewalls on there. But what does that actually mean? What devices have we got available to you today? So I'm only going to touch on a couple. I'm not going to go through them all. So as I've said, the USG Flex is recently joined, and I've touched on the fact that we've got the CDR to be able to quarantine the end user devices. The secure Wi-Fi AP tunnel, which is a perfect home working solution, especially for this day and age. Two-factor authentication, so again, being able to secure your network even further. But not only that, the USG Flex benefits from better hardware than its previous USG. As I say, our USG range has been around for years. I can remember my first USG chaining on a USG 100 12 years ago. Now it's even better. You know what I mean? It's even more better performance. The UTM's included with it. It's all there. Rack mountable, multi-WAN, so you can do load balancing. It's all there. So let's have a look at the sort of models we've got. And if you need anything more information or you need to discuss any potential solutions you've got, what box is right for me, the UK sales team or the sales team in your country, more than happy to help you. They'll have all the knowledge available for you. We've got data sheets, we've got proven cases, and again, we've got the expertise in-house to be able to help you. So you'll see that we've got our legacy NSG device on there, still supported, still working within the platform as it should be. But the USG Flex, which has now joined it, you also get the benefit of more security in terms of what you can do with it, as well as the fact that you get up to a 1 year Pro Pack. Now, this is important. What does up to 1 year Pro Pack mean? So if you've got a USG Flex that you've been using in standalone, because they've been out for a while now, if you've been using it in standalone mode and you want to move it into Nebula, do I lose any of my benefits? No, you don't. Anything that's left over on your UTM license, so if you've got 3 months left on your UTM license in standalone mode, get it into Nebula, get it configured, and you'll get them same benefits. Not only will you get the 3 months that you've got remaining on the security pack, but you also get a 3 months Pro Pack as well. So again, being able to have a look at them more advanced features, which we'll touch on a little bit later. So let me cover just a range of switches that we've got. So the GS1920 switch is one of our most popular switches. So this is a typical gigabit switch with gigabit uplinks, fiber uplinks, and some combo ports. So these range from an 8-port high-powered switch, which boasts from a 130-watt PoE plus, and also is a fanless design. So for small, medium businesses where you might be sticking it, say, underneath a desk or behind a receptionist or something like that, it's ideal because it just means that you haven't got that noise, that fan noise. But then when it comes to the bigger ones where you stick them in a rack, we've got a 24 port and a 48 port, both non-PoE and PoE equivalents. So if I give you a quick overview of the sort of ranges we've got the GS1920 that I've said is a gigabit switch with gigabit uplinks. We've got the XGS1930, which is a gigabit switch, but with 10 gigabit uplinks. We've got the XS1930, which is a multi-gig switch, which benefits from being able to generate up to 5 gigabit per second on traditional sort of Cat6A cabling. So again, being able to increase your network from a gigabit to a 10 gigabit by just replacing two end devices, being your switches. The XS3800, which work of quite a nice little core switch. It's got 16 SFP plus ports, for instance. It's got a couple of multi-gig ports on it, and some combo ports. So again, and these are designed to start increasing the capacity of your networks from the traditional 1 gig going up to the 10 gig variations. Then we've got a GS2220 series that's recently joined the Nebula as well. So this is benefiting from higher performance than the traditional, say, GS1920. And also, when we start looking into the XGS2220, which is going to be released in the future, we start being able to do static routing. So again, offering some of them layer 3 functionalities. The XS3800, which has already joined Nebula, also benefits from that. We've got a GS1350 range as well, which is part of our CCTV range. That benefits from being able to do extended range of up to 250 meters PoE delivery for cameras, high definition cameras at 10 meg modulation. So again, they all fit a purpose. All these switches that are in Nebula are there to fit a purpose. They're all there for a particular solution. And again, the experience within the sales team is massive. We know these boxes inside and out. We've deployed them. We've helped develop solutions behind them, and they are fantastic. So we've covered the firewalls, the USG Flex, and we've covered the switching. So let's have a look at the access points. So this screen here, I'm not going to touch too much on this, but you can see the variation of how many access points we actually have available. The key thing to know is that we have Wi-Fi AC, so that's Wi-Fi 5 as such. We've got Wi-Fi AC Wave 2, which is 5.2. And then we've got Wi-Fi 6, which is the new variation. And I'll go into some of the benefits of Wi-Fi 6 as well on the next slide. The key thing to take away as well is that Nebula Flex devices, so you'll see where it's listed as mode. Nebula Flex devices come with a Nebula Free. So Nebula, and we'll cover the packs in a minute. So Nebula Free allows you to have the management of Nebula absolutely free, no cost whatsoever. And then when you get to the Nebula Flex Pro devices, you actually get a 1 year inclusive with that. So you'll have the Pro pack for 1 year from the point of when you register the device. And then you can see on the table on the right hand side what specific features are supported for what access point. So let's have a look at Wi-Fi 6. So as I've said, a lot of our devices nowadays are moving beyond the traditional 1 gig networking. There's more devices available. Gaming's a lot higher. With the next gen consoles coming out, you're going to see a boost in internet speeds. I mean, I know this gigabit circuit's going into residential. I mean, I even know of a 10 gigabit circuit that's gone into a residential. So again, these speeds are increasing with the ISPs. If we don't increase our technology inside, then it's going to be pointless for us upgrading. So as I've said, these access points here, the WAC 650S, for instance, so this is our top of the range Wi-Fi 6 access point. This has a 5 gigabit, what's called a multi-gig port on it. So you can run it at 1 gig, sure. But if you've got a 5 gigabit access point, why not run a 5 gigabit network? You know what I mean? Think of the improvements of your internal network. None of this congestion when you've got all the kids in the house streaming YouTube, playing Roblox, playing Fortnite, and all these games that they all do, affecting what you're streaming on Netflix or Disney Plus. You know what I mean? You can really start seeing the benefits of your network. Like the 610D, I mean, that's got 2.5 gigabit, so you're not forced to go to the 5 gigabit. Why don't you get halfway across 2.5 gigabit? So again, it's all about bringing the next level of speed to our networks from the wireless point of view. So, I mean, that really kind of wraps up what Nebula Together really is. It's all about bringing everything together under one pane of glass and making it easy to manage, easy to deploy, and obviously help us all evolve as well to the next generation of technology. And as I said, there's 3 packs for the licensing, and we are going to run a separate webinar specifically on licensing, so please keep an eye out. Connect with me on LinkedIn. My name's Daniel Marsh. I'm one of the business development managers here at Zyzel. I'm very vocal on LinkedIn, so any webinars and things like that will be posted on there. But feel free to connect with me. If you've got any questions or anything like that, then I'm always open. But the 3 license we've got a free version. Yeah, so again, being able to get an access point, onboard it, use it for free, no cost in any way, shape or form. But let's say you want a few more advanced features, then we've got the Plus pack available. And it's a per device license, but a very minimal cost. And again, these can be discussed with the sales team. And then if you want the more advanced features, the advanced VPN features, so the bigger networks, the more complex networks, then we've got the Pro pack available. And as I say, the cost for the amount of features that you get is very, very minimal. And we will be covering this, and our sales team are more than happy to discuss this with you. So I would like to thank you all for joining me on today's webinar. And all I can say is that together we are connected. So as I've said, if you've got any questions or answers, we've got Nigel who's been monitoring the questions. So hopefully he's answered them all. If he hasn't, then I'm more than happy to cover some of them. So
yeah,
Nigel.
They're all answered, Danny.
That's absolutely perfect. So thank you ever so much, Nigel, for your great assistance on that.
There are things like upgrades and stuff like that. Can you upgrade current USG Flexes devices and then get them onto Nebula? Yes, you can. Upgrade to the latest firmware and then migrate into Nebula, all of that sort of thing.
Yeah, as I've said, in regards to if you've got any USG Flexes currently out there in the field in standalone mode, then upgrade the firmware to the latest version, which can be found on our FTP site, can be found on our website, or even speak to us in the sales team. We can point you in the right direction. Upgrade it to the latest version. You can actually set up the network before you even provision the device. So you can try and map the settings best you can. And again, our support team would be on hand to help you. And then as soon as you move it onto Nebula, remember, you don't lose your existing UTM functions or your licensing. It will continue and also allow you the Pro features as well. So I can see a couple of questions have just come in while I've been on here. So which older switches are supported? So thanks for that, Nigel. So the GS1920 V2 is like the oldest switch that we've got that is currently supported. Any future devices, future switches will be Nebula compatible. So again, keep an eye out for our new releases. Connect with us on LinkedIn. Again, we are very vocal on LinkedIn. In regards to the WAC 610, Tim, in regards to not being able to find it to buy, we'll arrange for one of the sales teams to give you a call and discuss that, and hopefully we'll be able to sort that out for you as well. So Norman's got one in regards to what I deem one of the best features. So the AP you send that home and configure itself with corporate SSID, etc. Then a secure VPN will VPN bind to any Zyzal. So unfortunately, no, it is a Zyzal specific thing, especially within Nebula. So I mean, if you've got a solution where you think about it, I mean, come to us. If you've got a solution that you want to try and get out of us, we can always have a look what we can do at migrating you over from whatever third party you are currently using to a Zyzal equivalent. So Jack says he's on the app and it's shown as top gateway clients, which are all MAC addresses and no host names. So you do have the ability to actually go in. If obviously the app is a little bit limited to what you can do on the website, but if you go on the actual platform itself, then you should be able to actually have a look at providing the host names. And I believe there is a feature request as well for the host names to be automatically generated. So as I say, we'll look at that. So let's have a look. What else have we got? Yeah, in regards to the slide decks. So yeah, this presentation will be sent out to all attendees. The recording will also be available as well. So if you like the sound of my voice, then feel free to review it and listen to it in a bit more detail. Stephen, in regards to the GS1900, the GS1900 unfortunately is not going to be supported on Nebula. But this, as I say, the GS1920 is really the base level switch that we've got available. So, yeah, well, that looks about all the questions. Again, if any of you are on here that want to ask any further questions, we're always available. Connect with me on LinkedIn. Again, my name's Daniel Marsh. My email address is also daniel.marsh@zyzal.co.uk, and I'm more than happy to assist you with any potential solutions. You've got any questions. It doesn't matter how small the question is, just feel free to reach out. As I've always said, no question is a dumb question. So again, thank you ever so much for joining us today. Thank you for all the questions as well. It's good to see that we've got a lot of engagement on this. And keep an eye out for future webinars. If you've got any recommendations for any webinars that you might think would suit some of the audience and things like that, then again, ping it across and we'll see what we can do. So thanks again, everybody. And thank you, Nigel, for supporting me, and Fanny as well. Thank you very much. Have a good day, everybody.
Take care, everybody. Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you very much.